Hey everybody, it's Kendra. Welcome to my channel if you're new, and welcome back if you've been here before. So in my video today, I'm going to talk a lot about garden stuff. I'm currently in the midst of planning my garden for this season, figuring out what I'm going to grow, how much of it I'm going to grow, where I'm going to grow it, and so on. So that's going to be my video today, but I'm also going to talk about seeds because I have actually ordered all of my seeds for this season. So a big chunk of this video is going to be a seed haul. So I did order my seeds from MIGardener and then also just a few from Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds. Last year I ordered most of my seeds from Baker Creek, and I love Baker Creek, but I do think they're just a little bit expensive. And they send out like big, beautiful catalogs, and obviously I get why their prices are a little bit higher because they do send out like so much stuff. And the quality of their catalogs is really high. They have beautiful, beautiful catalogs. But anyway, a lot of people last year during all of my garden videos had really encouraged me to check out MIGardener, just as a resource for, growing and all this, but also for seeds. So I got the bulk of my seeds this year from MIGardener, and then just a few from Baker Creek. The thing I love about MIGardener, their seeds are only 99 cents a pack, plus they are heirloom. So hopefully I have good luck this season with all of my seeds from MIGardener because I ordered a lot from them. So yeah, anyway, garden video today. Now, when I was first figuring out what I wanted to grow, I went through all of my seeds from last year. So all of the seed packs over here that are in like, the black packaging or white packaging, these are all seed packs that I got last year that I didn't use all the seeds up. So I still have a ton of seeds last year that I ordered, and then I also saved a bunch of seed. So some of the ones in like the brown craft paper, these are actually seeds that I saved. Now, the majority of the seeds that I saved are flower seeds because they're pretty easy to save. I saved a ton of marigolds, a ton of cosmos, I think a pretty good amount of sweet peas and also zinnias. And then I did save some lettuce seeds and some bean seeds. And I think that was it. A lot of the other stuff seemed a little bit complicated to save. But anyway, this is like a pretty good start. So when I was figuring out what I wanted to order, I really took all of this into consideration. But as I like to have variety and I like to try new things, I did order a few repeats. I feel like I want to have a lot more varieties. Like for tomatoes, for example, last year I had 4 different varieties of tomatoes, but I had like 4 or 5 of each variety planted. So this year I think total I'm going to have 8 or 9 different varieties, but I think I'll just do like 2, maybe 3 plants of each different variety of tomato. All right, so let's do the seed haul. So I got stuff from Baker Creek and MIGardener. I just want to point out how cute is the packaging, the little mailing envelope from Baker Creek. It's like all these cute old seed ads. I just think it's adorable. So I didn't get too much from Baker Creek, but I got some cool varieties, like stuff that I couldn't find on MIGardener. So first I got some flowers. We got the King Theodore Nasturtium. Those look really pretty. I think I only have 1 variety of nasturtium seeds from last year. And nasturtiums are very good for keeping out bugs. I also got the Alaskan Red Shades nasturtium. And then I got some zinnias too. Now I did save a lot of zinnias last season, but I couldn't resist these. These are the Queen Lime Orange zinnias. And just the color, they're beautiful. Kind of this orangey, salmony color with that bright lime in the middle. So pretty. I also got a pack of calendulas. This was one thing I didn't have in my garden last year that I wished I had. Actually, I think I had like 2 tiny calendula plants, but I really wanted more. So this is the Pacific Beauty Mix. I actually think I'm gonna play around with infusing some calendula oil because I know it's really soothing for the skin and very healing. And then finally for flowers, I picked up a pack of sweet peas. So this is the Beaujolais variety. It's a really pretty dark wine red. Now, I believe these are meant to be better for hot weather. Like a lot of sweet peas, generally they bloom when it's colder, but then once it gets hot, they just kind of die and go to seed and whatnot. But these are supposed to be good for a longer time, and that would be amazing because sweet peas smell so divine. and they're just beautiful, and I would love to have them longer in the season. All right, next I did get one thing of cucumbers. So these are the Parisian pickling cucumbers. Now, I do not plan to plant too many of these because I did a ton of cucumbers last year, and let me tell you, I've just realized we are not like a pickle family. Like, I like pickles, but I never really think to eat them. I canned a ton of pickles last year. We haven't eaten like any of them. I've given away a lot. I hope the people I'm giving them to enjoy pickles. But yeah, so I do plan to do just a couple plants of this Parisian pickling cucumber for making cornichons. Cornichons are like tiny little French pickles, only like 1 or 2 inches long. But I don't want too many. Also, I picked up some cabbage seeds from Baker Creek. I got 2 types. I got the Chinese cabbage Hilton. So this is just Napa cabbage, and I'll use this for making kimchi in the fall. And then I also picked up this chord de boeuf cabbage, which is oxheart cabbage. Now, the reason I picked this guy up is because I make a Polish dish called gołąbki, which is basically like stuffed cabbage leaves. Super, super delicious. But my friend's mom gave me her recipe for it, and she recommends using this oxheart cabbage for it because apparently the leaves are just like a really good size and good shape, and they're really good for stuffing. And then finally from Baker Creek, I did get a sample freebie pack of tomato seeds. So these are the purple Russian tomato. Hopefully they're good. I'll probably only plant a couple of those. Last year I did actually have, I had 4 varieties of tomato seeds, and one of them was a freebie variety, and the freebie variety was terrible. It was so gross. So I'm a little bit hesitant about, you know, growing too many of these plants because I haven't read reviews. And I did look online to try to find this, this variety on Baker Creek, and I couldn't really find much. I think they've actually sold out of this one, or maybe they're discontinuing it, I don't know. But I couldn't find reviews. So I don't really want to waste precious garden space with something that's just kind of meh. Okay, so that is Baker Creek. Now let's do the bulk of my seeds from MIGardener. So as you can see, I got way more packs of seeds from MIGardener than Baker Creek, so hopefully they're good. I got one thing of Nasturtium, the Jewel Mix. Next, I got some new tomato varieties. So first I have the Black Seaman tomato. And then we have the Wisconsin 55. And these just all had good reviews, so hopefully they were true. I got the Tigerella tomato. I believe these are like little cute striped cherry tomatoes. Okay, then I got this hillbilly tomato, and the picture on this looks super gross, but it had a lot of really good reviews, and it didn't look gross like this online. And then finally I got the Amana orange, and this is a variety I really wanted to grow last season, but Baker Creek was actually sold out of it. Okay, next I got 1 pack of bush beans. These are the Jade bush beans. I also have yellow wax beans and purple beans, like both bush varieties from last year. And then I did get a whole bunch of stuff for greens. So I got some mâche corn salad. This is amazing. If you have never had mâche, it is such a delicious green. I feel like it's pretty hard to find in the US, like actually grown and in the grocery store. I used to find it at Whole Foods, but I was just at Whole Foods and they didn't have mâche anymore. It's very common in Europe. When I used to live in France, I used to buy mâche all the time. I just love it. I love the taste, I love the texture. It's a beautiful green. I also got some arugula, slow bolt arugula. And then I got this Little Gem butterhead lettuce. So that's like I think those are supposed to be like cute little bitty heads. Then I got this leaf lettuce. This is the Bronze Mignonette lettuce. And then finally I got some spinach. So this is the Viroflay spinach. Now, what I'm really hoping for all of these greens, I'm hoping that I can actually get into my garden early enough when it's still cold so that I can plant this stuff, because I feel like greens grow a lot better in colder weather. I had terrible luck with mâche last year, terrible luck with spinach, because it was just too hot. I planted them too late and it was too hot and just nothing happened. Okay, continuing on from greens, I've got 4 different varieties of kale. So I've got some red Russian kale. I've got the lacinato kale. I've got this Vates Blue Scotch curled kale. And then also this one called Premier Kale. So I believe the Premier Kale is actually a cross between kale and a collard green, but I could be mistaken. I can't remember. I did get one thing of radishes. We've got the French breakfast radishes. I also got 2 packs of carrots. So we've got the D'Anvers 126 and also the Scarlet Nantes. So my carrots last year were not amazing just because the soil in both of the gardens was very heavy. So this year I do plan to mix a little bit of sand into the soil where I'm planning to plant my carrots, and also radishes. I think that could be a decent idea for growing radishes as well. Okay, I got 2 types of summer squash. So I have the Italian striped zucchini. Thought that was pretty. And then also the scallop yellow bush summer squash. These are like the little patty pan squashes, and they're so good. They're so tasty, and they're just so cute. And I also do have 2 varieties of squash from last year. I still have yellow straight neck summer squash, and then also gray zucchinis. So I plan to do both of those as well. And then I've got a couple winter squashes that I'm super excited to grow, and I really hope they do well. I've got some butternut squash. I love butternut squash for making soup. I made a ton of butternut squash soup in the fall and froze it, and it is just so wonderful to be able to take that out, thaw it, and just have this quick, delicious meal. And then I also got some spaghetti squash. Same thing. I roasted a ton of spaghetti squash in the fall, froze it. It's just so convenient, and it's healthy, and it's tasty, and I just love it. Also, I did get this other type of cucumber, but I won't plant very many of them because, you know, we just are not pickle people. We're cucumber people. We eat plenty of cucumbers in the summer, but yeah, we had too many pickles. So I got this Bait Alpha cucumber. I think these had pretty good reviews. And then this is the seed pack I'm the most excited about. I am going to grow loofah sponges. Yes, like loofahs you use to exfoliate your skin. I had no idea this was actually a gourd. I thought a loofah literally grew in the ocean. I thought loofahs were like some weird sea vegetable thing. I had no idea, because you always see them in Florida. Like when I was younger and we'd go to Florida, I would always see loofahs. So I just assumed it was something from the water. But no, they're gourds. Apparently you can eat them when they're young, and if you just let them get to be really big, you peel them, and there you go. You've got this like cool biodegradable sponge. So I'm super excited about this. Also, I do want to mention a few supplies I've picked up so far. I don't have all my supplies yet, but I've picked up a lot. I did get a whole bunch of these Jiffy pots, these little peat pots. So they're 15 in each of these things. These are the 3-inch ones. And I picked up 7 stacks of those. And then I also got 2 packs of these Jiffy strips. So there are basically 50 of these little bitty squares in here. I thought this would be helpful for planting flowers. I also got 2 packs of these. So these are Jiffy pellets. They're 36 pellets per box. So this is basically just a little disc of compressed peat. You put this in water, and then these babies expand to be maybe like 2 or 3 inches, and then you just plop a seed down in the top of that, and it sprouts, and then you just transplant it. So these were very helpful last year as well. I also got 1 thing of jute twine just for, you know, tying stuff up, always helpful. And then finally, I did get this big honkin' thing. This is 11 pounds of coconut coir, and I'm gonna use this to actually start a lot of my seeds. I'll be using like a mix of that and then some of my worm castings. So as for other things I do want to pick up regarding supplies, I need to pick up a couple rolls of weed fabric, like the black weed fabric, and I'm just gonna lay that down over my whole garden before I get anything going. I had such a problem with weeds last year, and I spent so much time weeding my garden, and I just really don't want to repeat that this year. So I'll definitely put down some black garden fabric, and then I'll probably get a few packs of hay, lay that down as well. And that's basically it for supplies. I need to check on my trellis nets from last year, see if those are still in good enough shape to reuse those. But otherwise I feel like pretty set when it comes to supplies, and I'm totally set with seeds. Okay, so that's what I'm planting this year, and that's kind of everything that's going through my brain right now regarding my garden. Now, if you are a newbie gardener, here's just a little bit of info and advice, just my 2 cents. Like, obviously I am by no means an expert gardener, so expert gardeners, please feel free to chime in and leave some comments down below. But one thing I really recommend, and this is gonna sound super, super basic, and it is, but I feel like it's something that's often forgotten when you're thinking about planting a garden. Planting a garden can be like, it can be very overwhelming, but it can also have this like really romantic, nostalgic notion to it. And it's easy to just get caught up in like all the seed catalogs and just, oh my gosh, I'm gonna plant this and this and this. But I think it's really important to actually think about, first of all, what you like to eat. Like, what foods do you like? Because obviously you're gonna spend time and energy growing these things. You don't wanna grow something that's gross or that you don't like. Like, make sure what you're growing is stuff that you actually do enjoy eating. Also think about how often you like to eat that stuff, just to get a sense of like how much of it you wanna grow. But then also think about food preservation. If you have like 50 pounds of tomatoes that are all suddenly ripe at the same time, you're either gonna have to eat a ton of tomatoes, or you're gonna have to give them away, or figure out a way to preserve them. So this is something I really encourage people to do. Think about how you're gonna actually use the produce. Are you just gonna eat stuff fresh? Do you only wanna eat stuff fresh? Okay, fine, that's perfect, but don't plant too much of stuff then. Do you want to freeze stuff? Do you know how to freeze stuff? Do you want a water bath can? Do you want a pressure can? Do you know how to do that? Do you have the time to do that stuff? Preserving food can actually take a lot of time, and just like organization and coordination. Do you have the resources? You know, do you actually have a pressure canner? Do you have a water bath canner? I don't have a pressure canner because they're like, the ones I'm looking at are like $300 or $350. That's why I don't have one. So the things that I would like to pressure can, I actually end up freezing. So that's something I would really encourage you to do. Think about what you want to eat, and then also if you have the time, the energy, the motivation, the equipment for doing some of these food preservation projects. Because yeah, as I said, I mean, you can end up with pounds and pounds and pounds of produce already at the same time, and it can be very overwhelming to manage all that. Obviously, also, if you are planning to garden in a community garden, go sign up for it. You know, I feel like they start figuring out the layout and who's got which plots. You know, they start doing that in like March or April. So if you do want to get a community garden plot, definitely go sign up for it now. Also, obviously, once you figure out what you want to grow, you need to order your seeds, or, you know, figure out if you're going to buy plants or whatnot. If you are interested in starting seeds, you can definitely get some seed catalogs. It might be a little bit late to get seed catalogs now, but you can still try. And all of these places have websites anyway. But the seed catalogs that I get are Annie's Heirloom Seeds, and then Johnny's Selected Seeds. I've never ordered from either of these, but I still love them. And then I do get the Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds. So this was their actual, one of their catalogs this year. But then I got this big sucker from them too. Just stunning. Oh, just a beautiful catalog. I mean, how can I not end up ordering stuff from them? Like, their marketing's great. But yeah, you definitely want to look through some seed catalogs, or go online, read some reviews, and actually order your seeds. Now, another thing I recommend doing that I still personally need to do this season, I need to make a map for my garden. And now this might seem like very tedious and very anal, but I like to go into my garden with a plan. I like to know where I'm gonna put stuff. And this also kind of gives me a better sense of how many of each thing to plant. Now, I actually use a software for doing this. It's called the Grow Veg Garden Planner. And one of you actually recommended this to me last year, and it was amazing. You can get a free trial, I believe, for 7 days, and then a 1-year subscription is $29. So I actually bought the 1-year subscription last year, and I think I still have it for about another month and a half. So this software is super, super nice because you can actually put in the dimensions of your garden. You can say exactly which plants you want to plant, and it tells you like, okay, you know, a tomato needs this much space, but cucumbers need this much space. So it's a really good planning tool, just for figuring out how much to start from seed and also when to plant it. And this leads me to my next point. If you are going to start stuff from seed, you gotta do some timing. You gotta figure out like the appropriate timing for when you're gonna start it from seed and then when you're actually gonna put this stuff in the ground. Because a lot of stuff you can't just throw it in the ground because it's too cold. So you have to like really play around with timing. And this GrowVeg software actually is super helpful for this reason, because there's a part on it that says, okay, from this time to this time for this plant, it's a good time to start it from seed, and then this is a good time to actually put it in the ground, and then during these months you can harvest it. So this is a really great tool for actually planning like the location of where you're gonna plant everything, but also just to really guide you with the timing of it. And yes, you put in your zip code so it knows like the exact frost dates. So it's really personalized, really customized. And finally, I would suggest, just start gathering up your supplies, or at least make a list of things you think you're gonna need. Do you need tools? Do you need shovels? Do you need rakes? Whatever. Are you going to put up a fence? Do you need to buy, different types of fencing materials? Do you need to get tomato cages or stakes or twine? Just start figuring out exactly what you are going to need. I also really want to stress that I just feel like a lot of gardening success comes from good planning. Figuring out when you're going to plant seeds inside at a particular time. When are you going to put these things in the ground? When are you going to harvest? How are you going to use these things? Like, gardening is not a nonchalant activity. There is a lot of preparation, a lot of planning involved, and I think it just keeps things more realistic. If you know what to expect, and if you are just better prepared for it, it just takes away a lot of like the frustrations that can come with gardening. So that is what is going through this brain right now. I'm super excited about all of my seeds and all my crops and doing this garden. But I would say the two things that I really need to get done in the next couple weeks. First, I need to make a map. I need to make my little garden planner map and figure out exactly where I'm gonna put what and exactly how many of each plant I want. And then also just figure out the timing of starting seeds and when I'm gonna actually plant stuff in the ground. So anyway, if this is your first year doing a garden, do not worry, it will be great. Just get out there and try. You will learn so much from doing it. And also, obviously, to the more experienced gardeners out there, please share your tips. Please leave us some tips, some hints, some advice down below so that we can all learn together. So anyway, if you have a garden this year, good luck. I hope it grows beautifully. And also, obviously, again, this year I will be doing garden update videos, so you will be sure to see my flowers and my loofahs and all my stuff. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!